Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new transfer video. I hope you enjoyed that little pre-clip. Let's get into why we put it there. Okay, so we have some pretty funny names to talk about today. We said we were going to try to do weekly transfer videos. Me and Joe, I think you guys are starting to enjoy the videos of me and Joe talking about our transfers. And we have some funny names, like I said. You're probably wondering why I said, or why we put the Mo Salah little dancer clip at the front. Because that is the first person we're going to talk about has been linked with Manchester City. According to El Nacional via City Extra, we got it off their website. Man City are set to rival Barcelona, of all people, for the signature of Liverpool's Mohamed Salah. Now, at the time of recording, Mohamed Salah has just scored a hat-trick for Liverpool in Old Trafford, and he's absolutely banging for Liverpool at the moment. And, call me crazy, but I personally don't see this one happening. So, give me your thoughts, mate.
He's going to sign a new contract at Liverpool, he is, because right now he's the best player in the world. They'd be stupid not to offer him, 300k a week that he wants? 300, 400k a week? You would, wouldn't you? You just would. Barcelona can't afford it either. Let's be honest, they cannot afford it. Unless Newcastle come in and buy one of their new £1 billion release clause players. So it's funny, because there's just no way it's going to happen. I think he'd be too loyal to Liverpool to come to City anyway, but it's just funny.
We were highly debating on whether we should even talk about this piece of news in this video, but you know what? He's a big name and he's linked with us, so we said, it's kind of funny to even just kind of just think about it briefly for a second. Could you imagine Mohamed Salah playing in this Manchester City team at the pace we attack and the attacking outlets we have? Mohamed Salah would be, I think, even better with us than he would be with Liverpool. Sorry, Liverpool fans, I know you love him a lot, but yeah, you're right, man. He is the best player in the world, and I think he's got every right to demand a lot more money off Liverpool. I don't know what he's currently on, but he's looking at players like Cristiano Ronaldo, who are on 500 grand a week, another top player in the league. Kevin De Bruyne is on 400 grand a week. I think Sterling's on just over 300 grand a week, which is probably more than Salah. He's looking at these top players, and he's probably saying, I'm doing more than these guys, and I'm earning less. FSG, pay up the cash, or I'm gone. And on the Barcelona front, listen, they had to cut Piqué and Busquets' wages just so they could fund the registration of Sergio Aguero. If you think they can fund the best player in the world right now, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to take my City cap off here for a sec. He is the best player in the world right now. Barca aren't funding him. If it's anyone, it's PSG, and then miles behind PSG, it's us in terms of where he's most likely to go. I think he loves Liverpool too much, and I think it's very unrealistic for him to come. So in terms of, remember we did for the Haaland confidence percentage bar in the last video, Joe? I'm going to put this at 1%. What about you?
0. It's never ever happening.
Never say never. Never say never. The City may try to be complete shithouses and I don't know, bid 150 million or something and offer him 500 grand a week. But no, let's be real, City fans. Leave your comments down below. Salah's not coming. Let's move on to our next one. Okay, so the next person we want to talk about is a striker. No, it's not a striker, even though it should be. It's a centre-half of all people. We have, 4 top centre-halves, Ake, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, and apparently we're holding talks with Chelsea's Antonio Rudiger, according to Di Marzio via Manchester Evening News. Man City hold talks with Chelsea defender Antonio Rudiger. Once again, very similar to Salah, I don't see this happening. I think it's a similar tactic to what Salah is realistically using at Liverpool, which is that he's just pushing Chelsea to give him a bigger contract. I think I saw that Juve and Bayern are also sniffing around the idea of signing Rudiger. Pretty sure he's German, could be mistaken, so maybe he might like the idea of going to Bayern Munich. But for us, I'd be absolutely I wouldn't be mind blown if he wanted to come to us, because he doesn't really have any allegiances to Chelsea other than he plays for them. I don't think he's like a cult hero or anything like that, even though he's a good player. But I think it's more realistic he goes to Bayern Munich if he goes to anywhere. But even more realistically, again, it's just trying to get a better contract on Chelsea because he's a very good defender. Joe?
I mean, another transfer that's just mind-boggling. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. We already have enough defenders. We don't need another one unless we lose one. And I don't think any of them want to go. So again, if he's going to go anywhere, it's Bayern, but I'm pretty sure Romano said that he wants to stay, that Chelsea are holding talks. They haven't got anywhere yet, but he wants to stay. And why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? I mean, just look at that defence. Their defence is up there with one of the best in Europe at the moment. He's a big part of that. He's an important player to them. He plays the big games. He is German, so the only realistic destination really would be Bayern. And it's more likely than Salah to happen, considering he is in the last 6 months of his contract now. So, yeah, but I don't see it at all.
No, I don't. And the thing is, this report is from DiMarzio, according to Manchester Evening News, who's usually fairly reliable. So maybe there is something in it, or most likely it's Rudiger's agent has told that to DiMarzio so that he posts this or he reports on this, and then Chelsea go, hold on a second, he's not going to Man City. But there's a number of clubs linked in the report suggesting that they're interested in Antonio Rudiger. And he's a top defender. Why would he want to come to City and compete directly with Laporte and Diaz for position, who are going to be pretty hard to shift off anyway? And then not far behind them, you've got Stones, and then, of course, there's Ake as well. So I don't see much interest from any parties in this deal happening. But listen, I suppose it's football and crazier things have happened. Like I said, let us know your thoughts down below. Antonio Rudiger to City? I don't know. Let's move on to the next. Now, the third and final incoming player, or suggested incoming player linked with a move to City we want to talk about, is Toni Kroos. And now, in terms of our incoming players we're talking about in this video, I think this is the most likely to happen, even though I still think it's unlikely. We were debating on whether we should even talk about these three players that we were talking about in this video. But it's worth talking about because they're big players, and also their futures. It's quite interesting to see where they will end up. In terms of Rudiger, probably stay at Chelsea. Salah, probably stay at Liverpool. But Kroos, who's 31 now, I believe, according to El Nacional via Manchester Evening News again, Man City manager Pep Guardiola is eyeing a cut price move for Real Madrid star Toni Kroos. Now, we know Pep is a big fan of Toni Kroos. He had him at Bayern Munich for a few years. He was a key member of Pep's Bayern team. They won, I think, 3 Bundesligas in a row. So you can see why Pep's a fan of him, and he may feel if he could get this cut price move, he could be a decent squad player. We know Pep is very big on his squad depth and having competition in the midfield. And with Fernandinho realistically probably finishing at City this summer, Pep may feel if we could get a season or 2 out of Kroos to just keep Rodri on his toes or something along those lines. I don't think it's out of the question. I genuinely don't think it's out of the question as long as it's a cut price deal. But then again, this is just one report so far. Joe?
Mental to think that we're talking about a cut price squad rotation option of Toni Kroos, even though he's won multiple Champions Leagues. But that's the case. Our strongest area of the pitch is midfield. We've got so many players who can play here. It's unreal. I view him as a similar type of player to Gundogan. While I think he is better than Gundogan, he's a slower type midfielder who's very good on the ball. Who can play further back. I'm not sure. I mean, it would have to be cut price because we genuinely don't need it. We don't need it. I don't know what his contract's looking like at the moment. I don't know whether he's only... I mean, he might have 2 years left. I don't know. But it is the most likely because you look at Fernandinho and go, well, if he goes, does he give the chance to Lavia straight away? Probably not. Because that's the way Pep likes to do things with younger players. He likes to try and, bed them in, give them loads of time to gel with the squad and, get up to speed. You saw what he did with Foden, what he's doing with Palmer. So it's more likely, but I can't see it.
If it is to happen at all, it would probably be on the basis that, first of all, yes, it's cut price. And second of all, is that he's willing to drop deep and play as a 6 and pretty well as a sub-6 just to keep Rodri, give him some rest whenever required, or just basically keep him on his toes, let him know there's competition there. And you'd have to think a player as good as Toni Kroos, who's won as much as he has, that would he be willing to accept that role? I don't know. I mean, he's still playing a fair bit of football for Real Madrid, and they'll probably be up there for La Liga. I don't really know how that Liga is going. He may feel there's still a year or 2 left in him there. Or maybe this is just another case of Rudiger and Salah, or our believed thoughts on them, which is just he just wants a new contract from Real Madrid. I'm the same as you. I don't really know his contract situation. But if a cut price move was on and he could play 6, and Fernandinho is definitely going, if that's the case, you know what? I'd be open to it. Very good player, Toni Kroos. Very good player. A lot of experience. Could be useful in a Champions League campaign because he's been there, done that. Let's move on to our final player to talk about, a more reliable one. Okay, and the fourth and final player of this video is a player we're going to hold on to, hopefully, and that's Ferran Torres, according to Daily Star Sport exclusive with City Extra. Thank you, as always, to them for their reports. Ferran Torres is set to land a 2-year extension on his current Man City contract, keeping him at the club until 2027. Wow. Torres is also set to see his weekly salary more than double to 100 grand a week. So as it stands, Ferran Torres, who was absolutely banging it for Spain, I know he's injured at the minute, but when he wasn't injured, banging for Spain, playing pretty decent for us when he's called upon, is earning less than 50 grand a week, less than Phil Foden, who at the moment is still on a pretty low paid contract, considering how good he is. This would be a good move from City, because I think we spoke about Ferran Torres in a video recently, or else we said about it off camera, that Real Madrid, or someone said Real Madrid, do view Ferran Torres as a player that they will ultimately sign at some stage. Kind of like Bayern Munich with German players. Real Madrid just assume they'll sign all the top Spanish players, and there probably is, a fair bit of truth to back that. But City need to do everything they can to hold on to this player. He definitely is a star for the future. I'm sure he probably will be happy to sign a more than 100 grand a week contract. And that means if City do end up selling him to someone like Real Madrid in the future, they'll get a pretty decent fee for him if his contract's till 2027. You have to think as well, if we do sign a big striker next summer, maybe an Erling Haaland, I don't know, would Ferran Torres be willing to play as a second fiddle the same way I suppose Jesus did with Aguero for so long? I really don't know. That's probably a conversation that they'll have in the contract negotiations. Joe, Ferran Torres, what do you think?
I think he would be willing to play second fiddle because at the moment, as it stands, we don't have a striker and he's still playing second fiddle. I don't really think that would be too much of an issue. It would be big to tie him down to 2027. Obviously, fend off Real Madrid, who are ever linked to him or recently have been linked to him, which came out of nowhere. Really, I don't think anyone was expecting him to be linked with a move away, especially this season. He more than deserves that wage increase when he's got a pretty good record when he's played for us in terms of goal, and his versatility is, it's great to have someone who can play right, left, and through the centre. It's, you need that in your squad, players who can fill multiple positions and do it all. He can be a top player.
In the case that we don't sign someone like a Haaland or a proper number 9, Ferran Torres is the only player left in the attacking positions who adds real physical presence. Obviously, bar De Bruyne, but you need him in a deeper role most of the time. He only plays false 9 when we really need him there. But Ferran Torres is the only player who has the attributes of an out-and-out striker, even though he's a converted winger into an out-and-out striker. But yeah, to keep him until 2027 would be absolutely fantastic. I think Pep views him as someone, he's kind of a project player, I suppose you could call him, similar to the way he looked at Foden and the way he's starting to look at Cole Palmer, which is someone that you just slowly work on and slowly develop. Even though we bought him for 21 million, which is a lot to bring in, there's a lot to pay for a sort of project player. I think that's the way Pep views him, and it's probably okay with me because he is starting to improve. I think he struggled to find his feet at City at the very beginning, wasn't getting his game time, struggling to compete with other attacking players. But he is starting to look good. He's starting to mature as well, I think. And I think his performances for Spain are really helping him on that front. So that is all the news for today. That's all the news for this week. We'll do another video this week if some big news comes out. But for now, for this week, that is this week's news. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you're new. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments on all 4 of these players. Are we wrong to laugh at Salah to City? Are we wrong to laugh at Rudiger to City? I really don't know. I've not seen enough reports or evidence to suggest there's any concrete contact or anything like that. But you know what? One can hope. Imagine Salah at City. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.